All right, when we return, we'll set this 700 horsepower bumper car ride in gear. This is the Cayuga County Fair 75 live on Sports Channel.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Rush Hour on Dirt is brought to you in part by CarQuest Auto Parts Stores, Racing Electronics Race Team Communications, Bob Hilbert Sportswear, Hoosier Racing Tires, Sunoco Race Fuels, and by Chevrolet, the cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. It's genuine. We are live at the home of Dirt Motorsports, Cayuga County Fair Speedway in Weedsport, New York, and this is the Cayuga County Fair 75 live on Sports Channel. Doug Logan along with Gary Montgomery and our race analysis this evening. This race, 75 laps. The cautions do not count. Total purse, $20,000. The winner's share, $5,000.
Our track description, this is a third-mile clay oval. The straightaways are about 400 feet on the front straightaway, 275 on the back. The corners are banked about 12 degrees. There's all the way around the outside and about half of the inside.
Always most important to the competitors, the track conditions. Paul Small?
Doug, unlike last week at Rolling Wheels where the surface was tacky, we haven't had any rain here in about the past 4 days. We've had lots of sunshine, so we have what we call a dry slick racing surface. There's a blue groove of rubber that's built down on the inside lane. There's not a heavy cushion tonight. It's up against the wall, so the guys running high are practically going to be on the retaining wall as they go around this racetrack. Now, this racetrack, as Doug and Gary told you, is a little bit different. Turns 1 and 2 are very distinct. The second corner angles sharply onto a downhill backstretch, and then you go into turn 3. This is the fastest part of the track. The drivers are flat out going through here. This is where you're going to see the majority of the passing in tonight's feature event. Doug?
Our field is about to get in motion. And let's take a look at our starting lineups for tonight's Cayuga County Fair 75. On the pole, number 11, 24 years of age and two-time sportsman champion of this track, flying Brian Turner. On the outside, it's the 89B of Todd Burley.
Second row on the inside is a professional race car driver, 38-year-old Jeff Hetzler out of Wallkill, New York. He'll be driving car 33, the reclamation car. Alongside is a three-time track champion here, Bob McCready out of Watertown. You heard from him earlier. He won the championship here in 1985, again in 90 and 94. He's 45 years old.
Let's take a look at row number 3. Rising dirt star Gary Tompkins and the number 18 Bobby Barron.
Back in row number 4, driver that you met earlier as well, Steve Payne. He's a 4-time champion here as well. He won a championship in the late model class, 2 modifieds, and a 358 last year. Alongside is Ronnie Smoker, returning to racing after an absence of a couple of years.
Row 5, the 91 of Billy Decker and the number 1 of Canadian Joe Plozek. He leads the modified ranks here in 96 with 5 wins. He's the defending track champion.
Back in row number 6 now on the inside will be Timmy Fuller out of Edwards, New York. He's 28 years old. He's in his second year as a full-time modified stock car driver. Alongside is the youngest driver in the field, 21-year-old Jimmy Phelps out of Baldwinsville. He's in car number 99J.
Row 7, a man who won the modified feature, his first ever here last Sunday, the 47 of Scott Prentice. And outside, the 00 of Buzzy Rudeman.
Row number 8 on the inside, a driver that we've seen earlier this summer, but this will be the first time we're seeing him in the number 74. It's Frank Cozy out of Wind Gap, Pennsylvania. Alongside is the 1991 Mr. Dirt champion, Doug Hoffman, in the Taylor Motorsports car number 1D.
High-powered row number 9, Danny Johnson and Brett the Jet Hearn.
Row number 10 on the inside is the guy we call the Dream Weaver. It's Brian Weaver. He's out of Binghamton, New York, 33 years old. He's won 9 feature races already this year. Alongside is 24-year-old Dave Exon. He's from nearby Port Byron, New York. He's in car number 111.
Row 11, the 19, Kenny Brightbill, 46 years of age, and the 56 of Pat Ward.
Row number 12 on the inside. This will be starting position number 23. A 358 modified rookie driver from nearby Auburn is Jeff Bliss. His dancing partner, starting 24th, will be car number 99, Charlie Donk out of Macedon.
Row 13, Steve Glover and Chuck Bauer.
Back in row number 14 on the inside will be the 83 of Tommy Sears Jr. He's from Clay, New York, and alongside is the Syracuse firefighter Todd Milton. He's in car number 96 tonight.
And row 15, Alan Johnson, 14J, AJ Slideways.
Frank Cozy is again carrying our in-car camera, the CarQuest Auto Parts in-car camera. For 1996, Cozy is splitting his 120 race program between 4 different cars. We've seen him for the past couple of weeks in the Rick and Quirky Thumb car number 12D. Tonight he's in the Joe Booth, Steve Hastings number 74.
Our green flag is out, and we are racing at Cayuga County Fairgrounds. Brian Turner is down low. Out high, Todd Burley. Down the backstretch they go. Jeff Hetzler's third. Bob McCready is fourth. And Turner still low in the groove on the racetrack is the leader, but now flying on the outside is Todd Burley.
Todd Burley makes the pass. Look at McCready wobbling the car, trying to find room. He's dove to the bottom of the racetrack now, trying to run around Brian Turner. Turner on the outside, McCready on the inside. He's got company in the form of Hetzler.
Todd Burley, 25 years of age, a 358 modified rookie from Spencerport, New York, is the leader.
We just had a shot there of them going 3 wide. Here we see Hetzler on the bottom in the yellow and brown 33. Gary Tompkins up on the outside, and there's Ronnie Smoker making contact with the wall, car number 95, but he's away. He'll continue.
Just an example, if you get out of the groove, no matter how wide it is, you are going to kiss that outside retaining wall. Always so dangerous.
Tight racing. Here we see Steve Payne down on the bottom and Joe Plosick along the outside. They're trying to run down Ronnie Smoker, the guy that was involved in that little altercation a moment ago. Here's a battle for the number 2 spot now. The veteran McCready on the inside of the sophomore driver Brian Turner. They're trying to run down the leader Burley, who's an absolute rookie in modified racing. This is great stuff up front here, Doug.
Brian Turner on the outside. Bob McCready, the number 9, tries to get the bite down low and looks like he's got it on the backstretch. Bob McCready running second. Big leader, though, is Todd Burley, and you saw the interval there just for a brief second. But McCready runs second.
Burley has been a big winner in sportsman racing. He moves up to the 358 modifieds this year. So now, Doug, we may have this situation that we thought we might have earlier. We didn't talk about it on the air, but 358s versus big blocks. We got a 358 with the rookie driver Burley leading, the big block of McCready running second. We'll see if horsepower works here on this slick racetrack.
Bob McCready, who is a 3-time track champion, running in second place, and there's some slicing and dicing a little further back.
It certainly is. Payne way down on the bottom. That's for position number 7 now. Payne goes to the bottom of the racetrack. In the middle is Joe Plosick. They're trying to run down Smoker in the 95. Decker will make it a 4-car battle. All those cars battling for position 7 and 8.
4 deep coming out of turn 4. My, what wheel-to-wheel racing.
Again, Smoker on the outside. Decker comes from the back of towards the back of the pack. He's past Plosick. That's a bit of a surprise. Plosick, as you heard earlier, many-time winner here this year. He's down on the bottom, and up on top goes the yellow and white 91 of Billy Decker.
Very, very high groove for Ron Smoker, and apparently no big damage to his car from that brush with the wall earlier.
If there's anything wrong, it's certainly not showing. And we talked earlier about the cushion up against the wall. That's why they're running all the way up there, Paul. There's a little bit of dirt up there, and the cushion will hold them in the racetrack. Some of the guys going way up on top to make their battle. And this is a battle for position number 3 right now. Brian Turner has it. Gary Tompkins, another young driver, wants it. He's on the bottom of 32. Turner on the outside, inside, outside. Both these drivers advancing to the modifieds from the sportsman ranks just a couple of years ago.
Turner drew, as the top 3 finishers from 4 heats actually drew for position. He drew the pole, much like he did this past Sunday at Syracuse for the Big Skull Racing Super Dirt Series event.
Turner wheels on the outside. Gary Tompkins down on the bottom. He's employed by Troyer Race Cars and Parts in Rochester, New York. He's the sheet metal fabricator responsible for the bodies on a number of these race cars. In fact, most of them that come out of Troyer Race Cars and Parts, the bodies built by Gary Tompkins.
Any number of these drivers race full-time. They're professional race car drivers, but there are a number in this case that have to show up for work tomorrow.
That's right, including our leader. He's a toolmaker. That's Todd Burley. These guys both have to go to work. Again, Tompkins works for Troyer Race Cars and Parts. So they're a little understanding of these guys that take a night off to go racing. But Turner, he's got to go to work. He's involved in a pit operation at his dad's facility in Victor, New York.
Boy, again, you can see how high on the race course Ron Smoker is wheeling that machine. There's Turner, the number 11. Jeff Hetzler's trying to get a nose underneath.
Yeah, Hetzler's in position 5 now, trying to run down Turner, who runs in position number 4. Hetzler with a whole lot more experience. He's in the Smitty's Reclamation car 33. He goes against Turner. He'll pick up the spot.
Always fast and hard racing here at Weedsport and Cayuga County Fair. We are 14 laps of our 75-lap race. 14 in.
The battle for the number 4 spot continues. Turner runs the outside, and here is Hetzler. He'll make the pass now. Here comes Ronnie Smoker and Bobby Varon. We haven't talked about Varon. He's in the white car number 18. He's come from the back of the pack to challenge for the number 5 and 6 spot right now as they race down the
already our race leader, Todd Burley, in the 89 is into lap traffic, and so he is negotiating high on the race course as we continue to watch the Tompkins run here.
Tompkins runs in position number 3 with Hetzler in 4. Brian Turner back at 5. Now Barron makes the pass, or does he? Barron on the bottom in the white 18, battling with Brian Turner for position number 5. Just caught just a shot of Decker as he's trying to join in that battle.
There's Barron, Turner, and Decker. Smoker out high in the 95.
One thing you got to say about Brian Turner, he's consistent. He's staying up on top. We've seen a couple of the drivers changing lanes, but Turner has stayed up on top all night long. I'm not sure how much longer he can afford to stay up there because he's losing spots. He's now back to about the number 6 position as he loses the spot to both Barron and Decker. You can see how slick the racetrack, Doug, is the lights reflect on it, and we talked earlier about it would be slick. Well, I think there's a demonstration of just exactly how slick it is.
We're about to go 3 wide once again with Payne and Smoker and Turner, and Joe Plazek is making some inroads.
Ronnie Smoker, what a story here. He's a second-generation driver. He was out of racing for a couple of years, and he came back this year a bit rusty, people thought, but right out of the box, he was quick. He's been strong all summer long. He's running with a limited budget. The missed racing team, we've got a spin in turn number 2. Hetzler, who was running in the number 2 or the 3rd spot, I guess.
And look how he was able to correct that and get going once again. And we have a yellow flag coming out. He was in 5th place. There is starter Dave Farney waving the yellow flag as we have caution here at Cayuga County Fair Speedway. Hetzler moving on the racetrack appears to be okay. That's Danny Johnson in the number 6.
Starter Dave Farney indicating he'll slow down.
So the yellow flag is out here at Weedsport. We're 20 laps into our 75-lap championship. Rush Hour on Dirt will continue with more coverage live on Sports Channel. Doug Logan along with Gary Montgomery back at Cayuga County Fairgrounds in Weedsport, New York. This is the Cayuga County Fair 75, and Jeff Hetler's spin brought out the yellow flag. He's moved from 5th place back to 13th. Meanwhile, there's one man in the pits now with Paul Small. It's Brett Hearn.
Brett Hearn in the Budweiser number 3 out of the race early. What's the matter?
Well, you know, we decided here to come tonight. It was a non-point race. We decided to come here and do a little experimenting with a car that we haven't run yet this year. And the experiment was a failure in every way, and we got out there in the cars. We tried everything we could to get the car to tighten up, and the track's extremely slick, and nothing we did worked, and we just decided to pull it in and rest it tonight.
So Brett Hearn and his crew are going to have to do a little homework after this race, Doug.
Green flag flies once again, and Bob McCready is testing Todd Burley down low in turn 2, now down the backstretch, and it looks like McCready has him by about half a car length.
This was good news. This caution was good news and bad news for Burley. The good news was that the racetrack that was full of the lap cars is now no longer a problem. But the bad news is that McCready was able to pull tight behind him for the restart. It looks like McCready will take the lead. Burley's 24 years old. He funds his own operation. His dad owns the car, and they pool their resources. He's employed as a tool maker at Apollo Tool and Die. He took some time off early this afternoon, hoping to make a big payday here at Weedsport this evening.
Meanwhile, look at the rest of the pack behind Burley and McCready. We have side-by-side racing, which typifies what Dirt Motorsports is all about.
And that little wall encounter earlier with Ronnie Smoker had didn't deter the young man at all. He continues to run way up on top. We saw him almost make contact with the wall again here just a lap ago.
You see the 7 of Steve Payne. There's Bobby Varon, the 18, just out of your picture now. Ron Smoker.
Another guy showing up in the picture here occasionally as he's now moved into the top 10 is Danny Johnson. He's in the white car number 6. He's not shown right now. We've got Brian Turner, the pole sitter, early race leader, slowing in turn number 4. Brian Turner out of Victor, New York, slows the J.G. Turner Construction Troyer bus, and he may have a big problem. He certainly has a problem as he was running towards the front. If he's able to continue, we'll go from the rear.
Turner outside groove heads into the pits. This comes on lap 25, so up to 26. So we are about 1/3 of the way through our race. And now, whoever leads the race on a side-by-side restart has the option of taking the green flag from the outside or the inside, and McCready, at least initially, was on the outside.
Yeah, that is not necessarily a surprise here, Doug, tonight, as that groove is probably the faster groove. But McCready generally can make his car work on the top or the bottom wherever there isn't somebody else. That's where you got to go. So we call him the master of going faster. And one of the reasons is he can pick the lane that generally works the best.
We have a great week of racing ahead in early August. Take a look at this. The World of Outlaw Sprint Cars, 30 laps at Lebanon Valley Speedway. Tuesday, August 6th, Modifieds, 30 lappers. Racing starts at 7:15, rescheduled from June 3rd, that rain out. If you buy a reserved seat for the August 8th show by August 5th, you will be eligible to win one of 2 limo rides with Winston Cup star Dale Earnhardt. Circle your calendars. Pick up your phone. Lebanon Valley Speedway. And Busch Beer presents Mr. Dirt Track USA. Thursday, August 8th, modified. 75 laps, $17,500 to win. Once again, race time is 7:15. Remember, if you buy a reserved seat for that August 8th show by August 5th, you'll be eligible to win one of 2 limo rides with Winston Cup star Dale Earnhardt. How about that? He'll have a lot to talk about.
I wonder if it's a black Chevrolet limo.
With a number on it?
Yeah, it might have number 3 Goodwrench along the side.
Yeah, there are a couple of numbers, 89 and 9 leading the way. We saw just ahead of the pack our Rush Hour on Dirt Camaro pace car by Chevrolet.
Bobby Barron, a surprising run for this young driver at Fonda a couple of weeks ago. He's up to position number 3 now. Gary Tompkins, we've seen him in the screen all evening long. He runs in position 4. Ronnie Smoker, the wall banger here tonight, runs in 5. Timmy Fuller has come from the middle of the pack to run in position number 6. We're 25 laps in to this 75-lap contest.
Our heat winners tonight, Joe Plosick, Bob McCready, Billy Decker, Jeff Hetzler, and the consolation winner, Kenny Brightbill. Green flag flies at Cayuga County Fair. And we are underway once again with Bob McCready taking the high groove. He's got the top spot. Gary Tompkins is dueling for the 2nd position.
Tompkins, in a bonsai move, comes from the top of 2nd row to the bottom of the racetrack, and he takes over the number 2 spot. He'll try to run down McCready. Meanwhile, they're 3 wide with Ronnie Smoker running right down the middle. He is going to make the... Oh, look at that traffic jam. Unbelievable. Nearly 100 miles an hour, closer than you park your car in the supermarket parking lot.
It truly did look like rush hour, didn't it? Up very high was Todd Burley, and he may have lost a couple of positions.
He's drifting back. Now remember, he's running a 358 small block car. The guys that have passed him are both in big blocks. Here's the CarQuest Auto Parts in-car camera with a shot out of the back of the Smith Brothers Concrete number 74, Frank Cozy at the keyboard. And testing him right now is Charlie Donk in 99.
What a good-looking shot from the CarQuest Auto Parts in-car camera. Frank Cozy currently in 16th position. A little bump there. Alan Johnson knocking on the door.
Well, apparently Alan was in number 17. He's come from the last starting position. He had a problem in his heat, had to go to a guaranteed starting spot, so he's come halfway through the pack here as we work on lap number 29 now.
How do you like this shot out of the back of the Frank Cozy machine?
Well, if you're asking the question, I love it. Here's Charlie Donk. He's going to test. Oh, boy. Charlie driving a car that he and his wife Wanda own together. A little bumper tag there. And that camera, I hope it's not too expensive, Doug.
Oh, my. CarQuest Auto Parts, thank you so much for that thrilling shot. And there is the 74 of Frank Cozy. And right behind him, the 99 of Charlie Donk.
Charlie, a former motorcycle racer that's come to the stock car racing a few years ago, came up to the street stock division and has done just a great job with a very limited budget. Here we see Bobby Barron working the extreme bottom of the racetrack. He runs in position number 2. Tompkins is in 3. They're trying to run down Bob McCready, our race leader.
Very, very interesting story about Bobby Barron. First modified bought sold 2 cows to raise $1,200 for the car almost 10 years ago. That's the 18 of Bobby Varon. Here is a battle with Danny Johnson and company.
Here we see Danny working the inside as he's moved around Burley. In tow is the 91 of Billy Decker. So Danny Johnson daring Dan, the stock car man, and the Freightliner of Newburgh's car number 6, threading his way through traffic here. Patience is what it takes. He's in position number 4 now. Decker is in 5. Burley has slipped back to the number 6 spot.
Yeah, Danny in 4th, and he's up from a 17th starting position, so he's charging.
And we talked about not being able to pass. Well, I guess it depends on how much nerve you got or how much talent you got or whatever it might take. Again, we see a shot from the CarQuest Auto Parts camera being carried by Frank Cozy. Charlie Donk is all over him. Oh, he's going to make the pass, or is he? He's alongside, almost can't make the pass.
And this is just an example of the close wheel-to-wheel racing at high speeds here at Cayuga County Fair.
It's unbelievable. Here comes Tommy Sears on the outside in that bright yellow car. He'll move by Donk. He'll try to run down Cozy now. Again, Cozy, I mentioned earlier, he's planning 120 races this summer. He's got 4 cars at his disposal. He's in the Smith Brothers Concrete CarQuest Auto Parts number 74 for tonight's program.
And Frank continues to run in 17th position. Our leader continues to be Bob McCready, and Bobby Varon is about 6 car lengths behind him.
6 car lengths behind and charging on the outside. Again, we've got that bumper cam working the Charlie Donk all over Cozy, but cannot make the pass. Again, this is for position number 17 in the middle of the pack.
This is just such a sensational shot, especially when they slide into the turns as these cars do.
Well, we're watching out the battle out of the back. If we had a camera on the side, we'd see that Tommy Sears has now pulled alongside, and he may be able to make the pass. They're neck and neck, door handle to door handle, as they race out of turn 2 and head down the back straightaway. Way down on the bottom is Cozy. Up on the top comes Tommy Sears, and he does make the pass.
We have reached the halfway point of our Fair 75 here in Weedsport.
Decker racing with Don Burley. This is for position number 6 now. Decker on the outside. Burley has come from the top to the bottom. He'll try it down there for a while as he tries to get some experience here on this tight little bull ring.
Not sure it's going to work with this duel with Decker, who debuted this Olson car just last week.
Well, it's an Olson car for Decker. It's a Troyer car for Todd Burley.
Again, we see Danny Johnson in the number 6 machine, and he's high on the outside of Gary Tompkins, running 4th.
It's a battle for 4. Now, Danny's got a small block in his car tonight. Tompkins has a big block. Danny's running a 358, not because he necessarily wants to, but he's got no big block engines left. They've had engine trouble on all 3 of their big blocks over the past several weeks, so Danny's down to his last running motor for this car, the Ray Bramall-owned Freightliner of Newburgh's car. It's a 358 built by Precision, but it's doing a great job for Danny right now.
Look at how high Decker was on the race course, as once again we rejoin Danny Johnson and the number 32 of 30-year-old Gary Tompkins out of McDougal, New York.
So Danny runs in position number 4. Sorry, up to the number 3 spot now. Danny takes over the number 3 spot. He has come from deep in the pack. In fact, he started back in number 17. So Danny's probably passed more cars than anybody else. We've got caution on the Speedway, Doug. Oh, it's our in-car camera car. Cozy's left the racetrack over between turns 1 and 2. And we don't know what the problem is there.
So the Smith Brothers CarQuest Auto Parts number 74 is in the infield, parked 43 laps into our 75-lap event on rush hour. Looking to see what the problem is. Perhaps a left rear flat tire.
I suspected that could be the problem. Looked like he'd moved to the infield in a hurry. He wants to make a pit stop. Now, again, caution laps are not counting here, so although he'll lose a lot of track position, he will not necessarily lose a lap if his crew can replace the tire in time. This car, it's a Smith Brothers Concrete sponsored car, but it's owned by Joe Kuth and Steve Hastings, normally campaigns down at the Orange County Fair Speedway.
All right, 43 laps in the books out of 75 here at Weedsport, New York. Rush Hour will continue with more of our coverage of the Cayuga County Fair 75 live on Sports Channel.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
We are back and we are live at Cayuga County Fairgrounds in Weedsport, New York. The Cayuga County Fair 75, and yes, the roar of dirt modified engines may be music to your ears, but we have more great fairgrounds music entertainment this coming weekend. If you're anywhere near central New York this Saturday, check out Lollapalooza 96 at the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse. Saturday, July 13th, $38 a ticket. Showtime 2 o'clock. Doors open at noon. Tickets available at the fairgrounds. We'll see you there. We're racing once again at Weedsport. Bob McCready in the number 9 has the lead. Bobby Varon second. There's Danny Johnson in the number 6.
Johnson runs in position 3. Gary Tompkins is back at 4. Burley has slipped to the number 5 spot. Decker runs in 6. Hetzler is in 7. Joe Plazik up to 8. Ronnie Smoker is 9. And Scotty Prentice rounds out the top 10.
Now, Bobby Varon is giving Bob McCready a real serious challenge here.
Serious indeed. He's going to run the bottom of the racetrack. McCready's up on top. 2 big block cars here, and they're going at it. We've got the youngster, sort of, Varon. He's won 2 feature races this summer, both of those at the Fonda Speedway, and he was a star in our show, the opening Rush Hour program. He came from deep in the pack, 24th to finish 4th in that race at Fonda. He's doing better here tonight. But Danny Johnson from 17th to 3rd, really charging.
There's Danny Johnson, and there is a look at Todd Burley getting bumped around a little bit by Jeff Hetzler, who earlier spun and kept the car righted. This is a battle for 6th place, and there's Joe Plazik entering the picture.
First time we've seen Joe, I think, on the screen all night long, but the Canadian driver in the Maple Leaf Special car number 1, wheels to the outside of the racetrack. He's the winningest driver at this track this year and the defending track champion.
There's Bobby Varon once again, and Danny Johnson. Danny Johnson trying to go outside of Varon. Varon, 25 years of age, out of Sharon Spring, New York.
Interesting story on this car. It was given to him as a graduation present by his car owner, Max Phillip. It's an Olson chassis car. Varon graduated from Montgomery Fultonville Community College last year near his home with a degree in construction technology. But he's constructing a great race program right now. He runs in position number 2, challenging for lead a moment ago, but now he's trying to protect that number 2 spot. The doctor is on him.
And a report out of the pits, Danny Johnson is running a 358 modified in that car, and he is trying to get a grip on 2nd place against Varon, as we're now showing a battle for 4th place with Gary Tompkins and Billy Decker.
Decker will run the outside. Now he's come from farther back in the pack than has Tompkins, and they're having a good battle as they go top and bottom of the racetrack. We said there'd be 2 grooves, and we were right on that one, Doug.
I had no idea that the outside groove would be that far outside, though, for tonight.
They can't get much further out. There's not much of a cushion up there, so they're going to go right up against the top. Now, that's the advantage. If there's an advantage to walls, it holds the clay up there, so they can't throw it all the way off the racing surface. So there's a bit of a berm up there that'll keep the car down in the racing lane generally and allow them to make progress towards the front.
We're at lap 50, now 51 of 75. Bob McCready continues to lead our race. There's Hetzler and the number 1 of Canadian Joe Plazik. Plazik driving the number 1, entered 1996 with 5 career wins here at Cayuga County Fairgrounds. He now has 10.
He's a real hot driver this year. He's won at all the racetracks that he's competed at. He's won at Brewerton, he's won at Ransomville, he's won at Canandaigua, as you mentioned, he's won here. He hasn't won at, I guess he didn't win at Rolling Wheels. He has not won at Syracuse. So, but he's a very, very tough competitor. Great family operation. They go all the way from Caister Center, Ontario, to race with us all weekend long here in central New York.
Nice little battle for 9th place on the track right now. Side-by-side racing, dirt modified style, live on Sports Channel.
This shot here you see is 11, 12, 13, and 14, and there's where Steve Payne is running uncharacteristically. You see him racing against Ronnie Smoker, the guy who's been testing the walls here all night long. So Ronnie's losing a little bit of ground here, but there's a guy that's not losing any ground. Danny Johnson. You can see the leader is in sight. Danny on the outside, Varon on the inside. Big block up the bottom, small block up on top. Danny can keep the revs all the way up and keep his momentum going, and that's what it takes with that small block car. Try not to spin the tires, just keep your momentum, keep it smooth, smooth, smooth. Danny not necessarily known as a smooth driver, but he generally gets the job done.
No, was it Steve Payne said before the race this would be a finesse race? Well, not too much about Danny Johnson and his finesse.
Well, I'm not sure his mom and dad would like that comment, but he's a great racer. He's a he may have thought he had a problem, but he just went down to the bottom of the racetrack. So he found the lane and he's made the to pass. So Danny Johnson takes over position number 2. He'll try to run down McCready.
He has got a ways to go. Bob McCready now down the front straightaway. It's about a 10-car length lead. McCready running high on the racetrack, and Danny Johnson selecting his groove.
We notice that Bobby Varon is changing lanes. I'm not sure that's by design. There may be a tire soft on that number 18. We'll keep our eyes on that. We talked about Danny running the 358. We talked about the track shining a few minutes ago. We talked about it being smooth. So maybe, just maybe, the small block will work in the later stages here. Again, they don't have quite the horsepower, so they don't spin the tires as much as the big blocks. We'll see how Danny does as he tries to run down McCready. Again, we got a big block, small block show, and it doesn't appear to be any problem for Varon other than he's back in the number 3 spot.
Our race lineup tonight included 6 former track champions representing 11 titles. Number 1, Bob McCready, driving the number 9 machine. Our leader has 3 track championships, and Danny Johnson, who is currently running in 2nd place, has 2 track championships.
Here we see Jeff Hetzler in the 33. Joe Plosick testing him on the outside. Now, many of these drivers in this distance race are allowed to use, they are all allowed to use radios, and those that are highly financed have them. Varon does not have a radio. He's not a highly financed team. We didn't necessarily make that clear. So if he does have a problem, he cannot radio that problem for his crew. We're just going to watch this thing. Great shot there. Joe Plosick on the outside. Again, it's Hetzler on the bottom, Plosick on the outside. That's the battle for number 6 spot. You can see just in front of them, Tompkins running in 5.
So we have any number of great duels on the race course as we flash back to the leaders just briefly to take a look and tell you that Bob McCready continues to have a 4-second advantage on Danny Johnson. But look at this battle right now for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Canada Joe and his Maple Leaf Special, the Jack Doherty Enterprises Classic Auto Recycler Steakhouse Restaurant car. Kevin Enders builds the power for that automobile that's built by Troyer. And Plasick is a real family guy. When you talk about him racing all the time, he's got 5 kids. He's 34, 35 years old, 5 kids. His kids are involved in go-kart racing. He sponsors that, or not sponsors it, but helps them with that activity as well. He almost got in trouble right there, Doug.
Well, Hetzler bounced his way past Tompkins, and so Joe Plosick is running very, very well indeed on the racetrack.
He's picked up 2 spots in just the past couple of laps as he moved by both Tompkins and Hetzler. So Canada Joe marches towards the front, but he's waited maybe too long. We're 64 laps into this thing with 11 laps to go.
So Plosick has the advantage on Hetzler as we take a look at an overview of the Cayuga County Fair Speedway and go back to Joe Plosick and Jeff Hetzler.
We've got 10 laps to go in this contest, Doug, and it doesn't appear that Danny Johnson's got anything left for Bob McCready. He's not been able to shorten that advantage or disadvantage at all. So Bob McCready, if he can work his way through cleanly through the lap cars that he's working through right now, you see him here putting a move on the Cozy car. Cozy will go a lap down as McCready goes by on the outside. Now just 8 laps to go.
There's Bob McCready, and he's tracking down our CarQuest Auto Parts in-car camera, the number 74 of Frank Cozy. Lap traffic for Bob McCready. And we take a look at the racetrack, and look at this heavy lap traffic. Heavy traffic coming up for Bob McCready. Let's see how well he handles it as he goes very, very high in 1 and 2.
He was right up to the berm. You could see a little bit of berm that had built up there. He was right up there testing it. But you talk about the traffic for McCready. Well, Danny's got to get through it as well. So we'll see how things work. He's now coming up on the black car. That's Kenny Brightfield. Here we see a shot of last week's winner, Scotty Prentice. Vinny's his dad. He has a flat tire and looks like he's pulling out this race, but he won his first race here last Sunday evening.
And of course, you know what this yellow flag means. That 4-second interval Bob McCready has on Danny Johnson is about to be totally wiped out, as we have just 6 laps down to 5 laps to go, and we are going to have ourselves quite a trophy dash to the checkered flag here in the Cayuga County Fair 75. As they work on Scott Prentice's car, we are going to take a brief break and be back for the thrilling conclusion. Rush Hour on Dirt will continue live on Sports Channel.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
We're back live on Sports Channel. This is Rush Hour from Weedsport, New York. Remember, the official supplier of Dirt Motorsports apparel is Bob Hilbert Sportswear. Let's go down to the pits now with Paul Small.
Hugh Naylor is the crew chief for Bob McCready's Kinney Drugstore's car number 9. 6 laps left to go, Hugh. Does Bob have enough tires to hold off Danny?
I think we got enough tires, but we don't know what it's going to do with this slick track and a restart. This is the slipperiest Weedsport's got, and this is the best we've gone in a while, so we're just hoping and holding on.
You ever heard of the proverbial rolling of the dice, Doug? It looks like that's what's going to happen for Barefoot Bob in the final 6 laps.
All right, well, it's going to be a shootout. There is the number 9 of Bob McCready, and right on his back bumper, the number 6 of the Dr. Danny Johnson. And we are going to have quite a shootout.
We certainly are. The premier drivers in the Dirt Motorsports organization running up in the front of this star-studded field. Bobby Varon runs in position number 3. Decker is in 4. Plazik is in 5. Hetzler is in 6. Tompkins is in 7. Pat Ward up to the number 8 spot now. Ronnie Smoker has slipped back to the number 9 spot, and Timmy Fuller rounds out the top 10.
11th is Doug Hoffman, and 12th is Todd Burley, who started outside row number 1. And we're waiting for the green flag from starter Dave Farney. There it is. We have 6 laps to go. Hang on, folks. Bob McCready storms down the front straightaway. Danny Johnson right on his back bumper in 2nd place.
Danny Johnson way down on the bottom. McCready was up on top. Now he's diving to the bottom of the racetrack on the back straightaway. There are no rear view mirrors in these cars, Doug, so they don't know who's behind them, but they can hear something. And of course, with the caution flag, they know they're right tight behind them.
Bob McCready by the starter stand. 5 laps to go. He continues to lead. It does not look like Danny Johnson is gaining on Bob McCready at this point. About a 4-car length lead.
In fact, maybe losing a little bit of ground, but the guy that is making a move is Decker. He's on the outside running in position 4. He is challenging Bobby Varon for the number 3 spot. Here comes Joe Plazik on the outside of Hetzler. Actually, that's Hetzler trying to make the pass on Plazik for 5. So Hetzler down on the bottom. Plazik is up on top. That's the battle for 5. And it looks like, well, we'll see here what that thing plays out.
And that is the duel that is most pressingly pending on the racetrack now, as McCready has lengthened his lead. There's Plazik trying to hang on. Hetzler down low. Hetzler, remember, spun earlier.
That's right. So he's come from the back of the pack, passing a lot of cars. Canada Joe, the winningest driver at this track this year, and they're having a great battle. But meanwhile, McCready has opened up about a 5-car length advantage as we've got 2 laps to go. Hetzler has made the pass. The driver out of Wallkill, the Smitty's Reclamation, car 33, makes the pass on Joe Plazik.
Bob McCready, of course, the winner at Rolling Wheels Raceway last week. Let's see if he makes a return engagement to victory lane as the white flag flies for number 9 of Bob McCready. Danny Johnson 2nd, Bobby Varon 3rd.
Well, he's got a clear racetrack in front of him and nobody right tight behind him as Bob McCready shuffles out of turn 2 and heads down the back straightaway. Now into turn 3, into turn 4, down on the bottom. He's all alone.
And the checkered flag is out for Bob McCready, the winner of the Cayuga County Fair 75.
Great run for the master of going faster as he picks up the win. Very, very impressive run for Danny Johnson as he comes from the number 17 spot to finish the number 2 position. That was Bob McCready's 12th win of the 35 starts he's made already this year.
Now, of course, Bob enjoys unbelievable fan support despite winning so often. Maybe because of a low-dollar image, he tows his car to the track in an open trailer. Maybe it's just because he's flat a great, great guy, but he always wins the popularity contest, and he's most popular here this evening.
And he's taken a little change in his racing program here the past couple of weeks. Series to regroup. They're down to 1 car that's raceable and 1 engine. So they regrouped, and since that regrouping, he's won 3 of the 5 races that he's entered. So it obviously paid off as Bob McCready continues to march towards the front.
And he's always first to thank his crew and give proper credit. Let's go down to Paul Small.
Huey Naylor, the winning crew chief for the Kinney Drugs number 9 at Barefoot Bob McCready. If we were playing blackjack, I think that would have been a hand of 21, Huey.
Well, that last restart we didn't want. Danny was right there, and it got down to the restart. Sometimes you better be lucky than good. And tonight we were lucky. the draw was the key to this race, and we drew up front, and I think that really helped us win the race.
Yeah, but don't let Huey Naylor fool you. Being lucky is good, but being good is better.
Well, in this case, here's a man who is absolutely great. Bob McCready, the winner of our Cayuga County Fair 75, and he drove one heck of a race.
He certainly did. He won a barn burner of a program last Saturday night at Canandaigua, and by the time he got out of the car, he tried to get out of the car, he was absolutely physically exhausted. A great side-by-side duel with Alan Johnson for the win there. We mentioned this earlier. He's 45 years old, father of 3. His son Tim is now a racer. In fact, he's won, I think, 2 races this year. The son Timmy's just 22 years old, but he started his racing career in go-karts a number of years ago. But he's in a stock car for the first time this year. He's won 2 feature races already. A very, very promising.
There are our top 3 finishers, Bob McCready and Danny Johnson, then Bobby Varon in the number 18. And there's a very happy Bob McCready. And why not? Let's go down to victory lane now. Paul Small is with our race winner.
Barefoot Bob McCready last week on the tacky surface of rolling wheels. Tonight on the slick at Weedsport. You got it all going on.
Well, you know, we just got such great sponsors. Kenny Drugstore, Syracuse Frame Service, FX Repair Car Companies. I mean, without them, we couldn't make these trips and run all over the state and the country here like we do. You know, it's just great. Without their help, though, we couldn't be there. So I have to thank them, you know, first and foremost. And I like to say hi to my wife and kids, and everybody at home couldn't make the show.
That last restart, were you nervous about Danny being behind you?
Well, you're just foolish if you're not nervous about Danny Johnson being behind you. The guy's a pro and doesn't make mistakes, you know. And we just had a little bit better car tonight for him. The DIRTcar car was just fantastic.
How did you figure out the way this racetrack was going to go?
Well, kept moving around all night, as you probably saw on the TV. It's the groove moves here all night, and we just keep trying it and checking the lap times and seeing how guys are coming from behind and all that. So, but the car was just fantastic. The Hutter engine was fantastic. Everything was great. Couldn't ask for a better night.
Congratulations on your second rush hour win, Bob.
Thank you. Thanks.
Barefoot Bob McCready winds up in victory lane for the 2nd week in a row. Doug?
And he waves that checkered flag. Congratulations to Barefoot Bob McCready, the winner of our Cayuga County Fair 75. We will be back with more of our coverage from Weedsport, New York after this timeout. This is Rush Hour on Dirt, live on Sports Channel.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Thanks for all the statistical help in the booth to Tom Skabinski and Kevin Kovac. The winner of tonight's race, Barefoot Bob McCready. For Gary Montgomery, Paul Small, and the entire Rush Hour on Dirt crew, this is Doug Logan saying thank you for joining us, and so long for now. We'll see you next Thursday night when we rejoin the Skull Racing Super Dirt Series at the Big Track, Can-Am Speedway in Lafargeville, New York.